Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is just Chris, and I am super excited to tell you about my experience in South America. So, just in case you haven't been keeping up with me, I just want to say welcome to my channel. And I do love to travel, and basically, this is just a little catch up on everything that I've done when I was out of the country. I did make it back into Texas in United States. That's where I'm from. And I decided to take off a semester, 6 months, to travel the world. And that's what I did. I had a goal to travel to every country in Central America and every country in South America. And I did that. Lots of dollars later, lots of time and stress and all that good stuff. But I did manage to do it. It was my goal for the end of 2022, and I did it. So thank God, I'm alive. I did have some close encounters, some dangerous moments, but nevertheless, I was protected. So thank God for that. And I'll just pretty much start you with my first trip. So starting with Suriname. That is the first country that I went to in South America. I went to Suriname first from Texas. I can't remember how much I paid for the ticket, but I want to say somewhere around like $350. So sorry, I'm actually holding this in my hand because I need to buy a little stand for my phone because, yeah. Anyways, yes. So I started off in Suriname. I went from Suriname to French Guiana, and in Suriname, there's videos of all this footage. So just in case you want to go back and look, I would appreciate that. Give me a thumbs up, give me a subscribe, all that good stuff. And my experience in Suriname was very, very good. It was very peaceful there. They spoke a lot of languages, Dutch being one of them. I didn't speak a word of Dutch. I didn't speak a word of any of the languages that they spoke. I did come across a few people that spoke Spanish, so that helped me out because I do speak Spanish as well. I'm not like 100% fluent, but I'm definitely, I would say, about 70%, 75% fluent. So I'm pretty good in my Spanish. So I was able to connect with a few people there in Spanish, and very, very, very little people spoke English, and I was able to connect with a few people in English. But overall, it was a very peaceful time there. I think I stayed there about 10 days, and then I traveled to French Guiana. And then I came back to Suriname. In French Guiana, obviously, they speak French. I didn't speak a word of French. Bonjour, that's probably the only thing I know. And so I really couldn't connect with many people there either. But I did come across somebody who, did he speak English? I think he spoke English. So we were able to connect, and he helped me out. I went on a boat ride and, sailed across from the French Guiana border to back to Suriname. From Suriname, I went to Brazil. Brazil was a place that I was a little nervous to go to. I had heard that it was pretty much one of the most dangerous places to go. And especially as a single tourist traveler, I heard so many horror stories. I heard that they, chop people's bodies up and sell them on the black market. I heard they kidnap people for ransoms. I heard that they do all types of stuff. But nevertheless, I still went. I knew that I wasn't gonna. I also don't speak Portuguese, but I knew that, and I didn't really care, honestly. I just had to see Brazil. I was trying to avoid going to Brazil at first because of all the horror stories that I did find. Because when I was in Nicaragua, I did get robbed. Somebody stole my phone, and it was just a bad experience. So thinking about that bad experience, and then hearing all these potential bad experiences in Brazil, it made me a little nervous. But nevertheless, I booked the flight. The flight was about, I want to say about $300, something like that. I really don't remember. But I went ahead and sailed off to Brazil. And when I got to Brazil, from the moment I got there, I just had an amazing time. I got to see one of the 7 wonders of the world, which is the Christ the Redeemer. I have videos on that as well. So the Christ the Redeemer, that was so amazing. It was an amazing experience to, go there in live and living color and be able to see it in person and take pictures. And it was just an amazing experience. So I really, really, really enjoyed myself in Brazil. And all the fear that I had started to go away because I didn't have a bad experience at all. I got to try what's the drink called? Caipirinha, caipirosa, one of those. It was really good too because I love really lime flavored sour drinks. So I was able to celebrate. At that time, I had just made 30 countries, so I was celebrating my 30th country there, and I just had an amazing experience. I was being a real tourist there. I just traveled to all of the most known landmarks there, and it was just an amazing experience. So Brazil was a place I actually ended up staying almost a month in. And I would have went back. I still would go back. I really enjoyed myself. I even learned a little bit of Portuguese when I was there. I met a guy who was from Argentina, and not many people speak English in Brazil, but a lot of people speak Spanish. So I ended up connecting with some people from Argentina, and I was able to speak Spanish and connect. And we ended up pretty much staying connected the whole time. So it was really nice to be able to connect with somebody, but also, feel safe and secure. I ended up getting to the point to where I would go out at night by myself to go get something to eat, walk in the streets by myself. A lot of people say it's really dangerous in Brazil with the slums. They call them the favelas. But I stayed in a favela, and, I'm not going to say nothing will ever happen to you, but I really did not feel like I was unsafe all the parts that I went to. I was in Rio the majority of the time, but it was an amazing experience. It was an amazing experience. Definitely will go back to Brazil, and I was safe, thank God, and I felt safe. So all the fears that I had, they went away. So I definitely encourage you to go there and don't be worried about that. So from Brazil, I went to, where did I go? From Brazil, it got a little complicated. So Brazilians need to have a yellow fever in South America to travel to a lot of countries. And I didn't know this. I researched, but I didn't see anything about me needing a yellow fever because I'm from the United States. Now, it doesn't really matter if you're from the United States. If you're traveling from Brazil to another country, you have to have a yellow fever shot. So I did not, or a vaccine. So I did not have that. And I bought a ticket from Brazil to Paraguay, and I can't even remember now. I think I went to Paraguay, or tried to, and I ended up getting stuck in the airport because they denied me. I didn't have a yellow fever. And the yellow fever, you actually there's free vaccinations for yellow fever, unlike in the United States. I was like, okay, I can just go get a yellow fever shot and then come back and get on my flight, because my flight left in a few hours. But unfortunately, it didn't work like that. You actually had to have the vaccine in your body for 10 days before you could fly out. So it didn't work out. Luckily, I was able to change my airline ticket to a different country that was allowed to go to Paraguay. So I had to end up getting my flight changed from Brazil to Chile to Peru to Bolivia, I think it was. Yes, I think that was the route. It was like I said, once I left Brazil, things got really complicated. So I had to stay in the airport for over 24 hours. I think I was in Peru for hours and hours, in Chile for hours and hours. And I finally made it to Bolivia. I had to stay there for hours and hours. I had to end up getting a visa, and I ended up getting sick when I got there because the elevation was really high. And these are things that I didn't anticipate. I had no idea that I would have such a hard time when I got there, like, climate wise. And just the back and forth of not getting good sleep in almost 2 days. And it was just a really long process. But I finally made it to Bolivia, and I actually got there and I didn't like it. I was in, what's the city? I can't even remember now. I'll insert it because I can't remember right now. But I was in that city, and it was really cold. And me personally, if you know me, if you don't know me, I do not like cold weather. That's why all of my travels, for the majority, is usually places where it's hot and warm, because I do not like cold weather. I love swimming. I love going on the beach. I do not like, dressing up and bundling up because everything starts running. My nose starts running. My nose gets really red. My eyes water nonstop. I'm constantly having to have tissues, sniffing. I just hate it. I don't like it at all. And it's very hard for me to go to sleep because I'm not comfortable because I'm so cold, and I don't like it. And it was cold there, and the climate was different. The elevation was different. So I actually ended up leaving pretty soon. I think I left after only 2 days. So I paid all that money to get into the country. I had to get a visa that was over $200 and all this extra stuff, and I didn't even like it. So I left. La Paz, that's the name of the city. I just thought about it. La Paz, Bolivia, that's where I was at. I didn't like it. Sorry. So from Bolivia, I was able to go to Paraguay, which is where I was trying to go from Brazil in the first place. Keep in mind, I'm constantly looking for flights. I'm constantly looking for hostels and hotels and Airbnbs to stay in that's reasonably priced so that I can keep traveling, looking for a place that's safe, looking for a place that's close to the bus lines and the trains and the airplanes and the airlines and the airports and things like that. It's really stressful, because you're constantly doing this over and over. In some places, I stayed a while, like Brazil. I had a little bit of peace because I knew I wasn't traveling anytime soon. I was going to be there for a few weeks. But anyways, I made it to Paraguay. I actually only booked Paraguay for a few days. But now that I look at it, I wish I would have just got an open ticket because I really, really enjoyed being in Paraguay. It was so nice. The weather was nice. From coming from Bolivia, where I was freezing cold, well, not really freezing cold, but it's just like the elevation that made me sick. Had a bad headache, no appetite, bad migraine. You cannot focus when you have a migraine. But going from that type of experience to Paraguay, where the sun is shining, it's a little bit of breeze. It's just a whole different atmosphere. Even though these countries are really close, completely different atmosphere, more developed, and it was just really nice. So I really enjoyed it, but I had already booked my flight back to from Paraguay. I went to, where did I go from Paraguay? I think I went to Argentina after that. So I went from Paraguay. I enjoyed my time there. Very beautiful country, and then I went to Argentina, I believe. So in Argentina, I have no idea why, but every price inflated. Regular hotels that would be $100 or $50 a night was literally 4 and 5 times the amount when I was there, and I have no idea why. I had heard around that Bad Bunny and other artists was in town, and that's why the prices went up, but honestly, I don't know what it was, because even after they left, the prices were still up really high. So I could only stay in Argentina for one day. I couldn't afford to stay there because the place that I was staying in was only $30 a night, $35 a night. And this was a shared place that I was living in, and normally that place was $10 a night. So it had inflated up to about $35. But the very next day, if I would have booked another night there, it was about $300 a night, which was ridiculous. And I thought maybe I'm looking at the currencies wrong, or maybe something's off. And they were like, everything is expensive now because of all the prices went up. And I couldn't understand why. So everything that I searched was very expensive. It was super, super expensive, almost to the point where you think it's a typo. $400 a night, $500 a night. It's who's going to pay this? So I had to find a solution really fast. And I looked up my next country, which was Uruguay, which is right next to Argentina. You can actually take a ferry. And that's what I did. And I found that places were very cheap in Uruguay. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess I have to leave. I couldn't even enjoy Argentina because the hotels were just way too expensive. Some people were like, you have to book in advance and da-da-da-da. But I have never booked in advance, and I've always had, a great experience. So anyways, I ended up booking a ferry for about $50, sailed to Uruguay. That was made me a 2-hour boat ride to Uruguay. Went to Uruguay, and keep in mind, I also have videos of all these countries. So just in case you want to check them out, go ahead and do that. But yes, so I traveled to Uruguay. and I made it to another place. I ended up staying in Uruguay for almost a month. No, over a month actually. And I didn't plan on staying there that long, but it just kind of happened that way. And this was wrapping up my trip. So by the time I got to Uruguay, I was pretty much finished all of the countries. I feel like I went to Chile. I ended up going to Chile twice. And some countries I had already been to. So I had already been to Peru, I had already been to Colombia, I've already been to what's the other ones? Already been to so on this particular trip, I didn't go to the ones that I've already visited before. So pretty much all the other countries that I didn't mention, I have already traveled there a few years ago. I can't think of all of them right now, but I know Colombia, I spent a month there a few years ago. Peru, I spent a few months there. I really love there. Um, I can't think of the rest of the countries. Anyways, I hate when I can't. Oh, Guyana, I spent about 2 weeks there. So pretty much all the other countries I've already been to before. And I was pretty much hitting the rest of the countries that I have not been to. So fast forward back to Uruguay. Uruguay, I stayed there for about a month. Uruguay is the most expensive place in South America. The most developed, but the most expensive. Lots and lots of homeless people there. I have never seen so many homeless people in one place in my life. Several times, I was drinking something or eating something, and homeless people would just come right up to me and be like, "Can I have the rest of that?" And I'm like, I mean, I'm still eating it, but okay, whatever, and I would give them my food or my drink, whatever I had in my hand. And this was like a frequent thing, which I wasn't used to. I'm used to seeing homeless people, but I'm not used to seeing them just everywhere, like literally everywhere. They're at every park, every corner, everywhere, there's like no mandates to keep them away from areas, but yeah, they're everywhere. So that was new to me. I ended up meeting this girl there, and she was a good friend of mine. Shout out to Diana. We ended up spending pretty much our whole time together in Uruguay. We shared everything, and we were able to cut down on some of our costs because we made dinner together. We did everything together. So basically, that's like splitting the cost on everything. We booked a few Airbnbs together, hotels and stuff like that, to kind of cut down on some of the costs. But it's more expensive than United States. And anybody who's from United States or traveled to United States, you may not realize how expensive our country is, because obviously our economy is a little bit better, obviously, so we make more money. But yeah, it's very expensive. If you just want to get like a loaf of bread and like some meat, to make for dinner, you can't. It's very expensive. I know, just like a loaf of bread is maybe like $5. In United States, you can get like the off-brand bread for $1 or $2. So it's just like little stuff like that that adds up. If you just want like a bar of soap, it's like $2, $3. So all of these things, or a few dollars more than what I'm used to. Even me being from United States, where this is one of the most expensive countries already. So yeah, Uruguay was the most expensive country, and yeah, definitely spent a lot of money there. And I ended up staying there for a month, which that's crazy. But overall, that's the end of that's how where I ended. And then I bought a ticket from Uruguay to Miami, because it was a lot cheaper to go through Miami and then to Texas versus going straight to Texas, because that would have cost me like another extra $300. And I think I bought a ticket from Miami to Texas for like $40 or something like that with Spirit. Do not like Spirit Airlines, because I think I paid maybe $40 for my ticket, and I had to end up paying almost $100 for my bag. Really? But that's Spirit Airlines for you. So that's pretty much my trip. I know this video was kind of long, but that's pretty much my whole trip. I really, really, really would recommend traveling. Love it so much. I said that I'm going to come back to the States and recoup from all the money that I spent, because I spent a lot of money. A lot of people always ask me, what do I do for a living? What do I do? How do I get money? That's none of your business. So I traveled and I love it, and I think I'm going to be settled for a few months. We'll see. Who knows? Maybe, maybe not. But I'm trying to touch bases on everything that I have some little notes here. I told you the route that I went down. The thing about traveling, obviously, you meet the most amazing people. I met some of the most amazing people. I still stay in contact with them now. It sucks because you gotta depart from them because you get close to them and y'all get to know each other a little bit and y'all travel together, y'all share, things, and then you gotta leave them. So that's the only thing that kind of sucks about it. Um, Climate changes, I kind of went over that. Sometimes I think that I'm just like this hard warrior where I never can be affected by anything, but the weather definitely took a toll on me in some countries that I went to. Getting sick, getting yeah, just getting sick, and just the climate changes in general. It affects your appetite, it affects a lot of things. So I didn't think it could happen to me, but it did. What else? I already went over how much money I spent. Definitely spent a lot of money. A lot of money. So if you're thinking about traveling, you can do it and it's worth it. I mean, I don't regret it at all, but yeah, I gotta work, work, work. Let's see what else. So the last thing is traveling was, of course, a lot of fun. It was worth it. I'm about to end this video, but I will say that it can be very stressful just trying to find the right place to stay, finding the right not only finding the right place to stay, but you got to be in a nice safe area. Some countries I can blend in, obviously when I'm in Brazil or where else, Chile or somewhere like that, I could blend in. No one's gonna know I'm a tourist right off the bat just by looking at me. Obviously when I start speaking, but no one's gonna know where I'm from when I'm in countries where I can blend in. Now, there's countries where I couldn't blend in, and I'm obviously going to stand out as a tourist because people don't look like me in that country. For example, like Uruguay or Paraguay. Those are countries where people have very white skin and blonde hair and blue eyes and green eyes and stuff like that. So clearly, I'm not going to blend in there. So you have to be very safe and careful in where you book your hotels and your Airbnbs and your hostels, because you don't want to be in remote areas where um, that little bug is making a lot of noise. You got to be very careful. That's the main thing. So it can be a little stressful because you're trying to find the best place to go, the safest place to go. You're trying to find the areas that are going to be close to the attractions and the markets where you can walk. I Ubered. I don't know how much money I spent in Ubers and taxis. I have not added up everything yet, but I know it was way beyond my budget because I know I had to keep pulling from my account. When I thought I was good, I had to keep pulling from my account. So definitely spent a lot of money, but it's definitely worth it. But I will say it can be stressful. And what was my other thing on here? And just being flexible, to be able to change your plans. For example, like I didn't know I couldn't travel straight to Paraguay. I needed to get that yellow fever. I had to go through the other countries first to get to the country I was trying to get to. So it's just like little stuff like that, just being flexible, being able to change your plans without being stressed. And I think that's pretty much it. So anyways, this video is like 23 minutes, but I had to catch you guys up on my experience in South America. It was amazing. I definitely would recommend traveling the world. Every time I feel like I'm going to be settled and I'm not going to move, it's just something in me that wants to keep going. So like I said, I think I'm going to be settled for a few months, but who knows? I may go somewhere from spring break, or who knows? We'll see what the future holds. But as of right now, thank you so much for watching the video. Make sure you subscribe. I'm trying to get my little subscribers up. And I will see you in the next video.